They made a Sonic TV show years ago with Jaleel White, Urkel, doing the voice of Sonic.
I like that. I like that show too. I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah, it was fine
on Saturday mornings.
Yeah,
it was on Pix. That and that Viva Pinata that was on.
You're probably thinking of a different Sonic show. My Sonic show is from like 4 years before you were born. So I don't know if they were replaying that. They probably did a CGI type of Sonic show for your childhood.
I don't remember entirely.
You don't remember. Yeah.
I remember the Viva Pinata show. That was great.
So, I think there is potential for good video game movies.
Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah.
What's that for?
Woo!
Why did Dominic Arbolino just give you money?
Yeah. It's a sports thing.
What was the bet?
We'll talk about it later on during the Squared Circle.
Well, you actually owe me a movie ticket show.
I do. But this isn't the only money I'm getting, so we'll talk about it later.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
We'll square away our debts later.
All right. So
Speaking of Dominic Arbolino, Squared Circle's on 30 minutes from now.
Yes.
4 to 5 o'clock. And by the way, you're listening to Nerdvana right here on 90.3 WHPC. My name is Joe Ritter, here with Justin Greenberg and not Colton Murray. We killed him.
Yes, he's no longer with us.
He's floating in the east.
So I hope this breaks the curse. I think it has potential.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Listen, there's been some bad video game movies. If we just go through the list, Super Mario Brothers, started it off, and I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the movie.
Just look recently.
Angry Birds.
How about the Assassin's Creed movie? Assassin's Creed is a thriving franchise right now, especially since they're making the jump to an RPG game version of Assassin's Creed, which I think they should have done years ago after Ezio, because after Ezio, you'll never have another main character like that. That guy had, 5 games? All 5 of them huge successes, except for Revelations, but Revelations still was pretty good, just underrated and underappreciated. But everything that Ezio was in was gold. They made stories online, like little animated bits that were beautifully animated, and they tried to add a new character from China, because at the time they wanted to gauge would people be interested in China to be one of the next Assassin's Creed games, and all people got wrapped up was that Ezio died. That was the only people were talking about, not about the new cool badass character. So they just made a bunch of mobile games with that character. They never really got over Ezio. Even Altair, who was the original assassin, for the video games, he even, paled in comparison to the incredible Italian. So, I think it's well needed that they've gone to an RPG where you can basically be your own assassin, be your own story, you can romance, you can do everything you want as if you were an assassin. And I think there's no better place than to do it in Greece. I think Greece is a perfect setting, especially now since, they're going with like
with John Travolta?
Yes.
He's going to be there?
No.
That would be a good setting. You're the one that I want. The one I need. Oh, yes, indeed.
And then he stabs her in the neck.
Yeah. I'd buy that for $1.
It's called Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They were showing it at E3.
Odyssey! Don't they think that's kind of a ripoff of Mario Odyssey? They're not going to change the name of that?
Well, the reason, you know why, right?
Why?
Odyssey, like the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Huh? Like Homer's Odyssey?
Yeah.
I know that.
Funny story, my uncle used to think, not the uncle you met, a different uncle of mine, you looked at it said on a Barnes and Noble website, it said Homer's Odyssey, and he's a big baseball softball guy, and he thought it was a book about how to hit home runs.
Wow.
So he bought it.
I would have went with a Simpsons reference, but he went for the actual home runs. Good for him.
Yeah, and then he was sorely disappointed when he got it. Anyway, this game, I think this game looks amazing just to me, and I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. I like what they're doing with it. You're going to be you could be a badass Spartan, and you could just do your own thing. You're going to run around the Greek islands just being an assassin. And honestly, I don't really care about the story that much. I think it's just going to be cool to be your own character, develop your own skills, and create your own legends. That's some of my favorite games. And that's another reason why I love games that do that. They cross into the open world and become RPG-ish. Kind of like how Metal Gear Solid did it with Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain. That was amazing. Basically, everyone is Solid Snake, and anyone can create their own stories. You could be super. I could be super sneaky and do everything the right way, and then you could just call in like air support and fly in on a cardboard box and explode and kill like 50 people with a machine gun. It's like the fact that the stories can go either way. It's really cool, and I think Assassin's Creed going that route is something that's well overdue. And that just comes down to just writing the story out to be one of those things, where it can be a player's choice, which I think is how a lot of video games are going nowadays. A lot of them are turning into the player choice, like you can choose to do what you want.
I think that that's fine and all. I know Detroit, the new game that came out a few weeks ago, is really all about making your own decision. I think that's fine. I'm more of a just, this is the route you need to take. You go from left to right. There's some hidden secrets here and there, but you have to do this. I just think it's more relaxing for me knowing that I don't have all these things I need to do. I get overwhelmed with some of these video games, especially even a game like Zelda that I love. I just know it's so vast and there's just so much to explore that it is overwhelming, and sometimes I like just going back to playing like a Mario 3 or just a side-scrolling beat-em-up where you just mindless and just don't really need to think too much.
Yep, I agree that sometimes, but there are just some franchises where it's screaming for things like that. Like, you wouldn't want a Sonic going like that. No way.
No.
But, a game like Assassin's Creed, that's something that people have wanted for years.
Wait, quickly, because we're talking a little bit about movies a second ago. Halo series coming to Showtime.
Yep.
You saw this?
Finally. I think Steven Spielberg's been trying to get this.
I don't know if he's still involved with this, though.
Last I heard, he was still trying to get it off the ground.
I'll look it up while you talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, you go ahead, and there's still not much talking about it. This has been something that's been going on for probably close to 10 years now.
I think it's too late. As much as I like Halo, it's nowhere near the phenomenon it was, when Halo 2, Halo 3 was out.
It was Halo 3 when they said this was going to happen. So what is that? That's like 10 years ago now,
right? At least, yeah. So
so it's been a decade in the making and in talks, and Steven Spielberg wanted to do this.
Yeah, I remember.
Like 5 to 7, maybe 8 years ago, maybe even a decade ago, he was trying to get this done, and he could just never find. Like, HBO was involved in it at one point, and then Showtime, and then nobody, and then Spielberg was like, "I'll do it myself." And then I believe there was a point in time where, like, Tom Hanks, which is like him and Spielberg do a lot of war movies together, he was trying to get Tom Hanks involved in it, and it was just all over the place. There was stories going left and right and this and that about who's going to be involved and who's not and who's set to be in it. What's the story about? And the closest they ever got to this was the Halo Nightfall TV show that they. What
was that on Netflix?
Short on they made. No, it was just on YouTube, I believe.
Okay.
Or it might have been on like an Xbox streaming app.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was, it was a live action like prequel to see like how Halo 4 or 5, whatever the newer one is, how that like Spartan Locke became what he is. And it looked pretty good. Like, the actual visuals weren't super bad. Like, there were some points that were pretty bad, but nothing was like, as bad as like The Room, like looking bad. Like, it wasn't awful. It was okay. Everything looked okay. There were some bad points, but there were some good points. It's just up in the air. I would love to see Steven Spielberg hopefully still involved in this.
No, he's not. I'm reading about it. So Kyle Killen, who I guess was an executive producer or creator of a show called Awake. I haven't heard of him. He's serving as executive producer, writer, and showrunner. So that doesn't really jump out as anything special. I don't know who this guy is, but this is cool. Rise of the Planet of the Apes director Rupert Wyatt will helm multiple episodes and also executive produce.
Good. He made a great movie with
that.
Rise.
Was the first one, right?
Yeah.
Rise. That was good. I think the sequels were better, but I think that's one of the better movies.
Still a good movie.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So I'm not. It's not like It's not like I'm against that. I'm totally for that.
So production's going to begin in early 2019. So just based off of post production, I would assume it comes out maybe summer 2020. I think that's a perfect time for it to come out. I don't know.
I just don't want them to rush it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really watched a show on Showtime. I wish it was,
I've watched a couple of shows. Strike Back was a show that was on Showtime. I think Billions was another one.
Billions is on Showtime.
And I love Billions, and that's really good. And Homeland, I think, is a Showtime as well.
Wait, is Billions on Showtime or HBO?
Oh, no, it's on Stars.
Not Billions.
I thought it was on Stars.
No, let's see.
Billions is not on HBO. I know that for a fact.
Let's see. We're going to find out right here. It's Showtime.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Homeland is also on Showtime then.
And I think, doesn't William H. Macy have a show on Showtime?
Yes. Shameless. That's some show. Everyone should watch.
So this should be interesting. If Halo, who knows if this even happens? Like I said, production begins in 2019. Plenty of movies have come close to being in production. Plenty of shows have been in production and never, got released. So I'm not, going to judge this until we get some sort of, actual facts and pictures and moving images. Yeah.
Until you get a trailer.
All right, let's quickly move on because we only got 20 minutes left. And by the way, you're listening to The Squared Circle on the voice of Nassau Community College. Oh, this is not The Squared. It's been a long day. I've done 2 shows.
Welcome to the club, my friend.
This is Nerdvana on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. So quickly, I just want to touch about this Kumail Nanjiani. Do you know that guy?
Nope.
He's like the Indian actor. He's in a bunch of comedies.
Sure.
I can't really... you know what he's in? He's in Paul Blart. He's like peanut butter and Blart sandwich. Do you remember that scene?
I don't know.
He's all right. Him and Rafi Spall joined Men in Black spinoff. And the other guy, Rafi, he was in Jurassic World. He was the annoying character. So it's these 2 annoying characters.
He was on Silicon Valley.
Yeah, Silicon Valley is Kumail.
Come on.
So they joined the Men in Black spin-off. It's a spin-off of the hit franchise series. It's added some other actors as
this
well.
Guy was in The Big Short.
Who?
Rafi Spencer.
The Big Short.
Or Spall, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name.
Spall. It's Rafi Spall.
I'm not really intrigued about this. It's at least I'll say this. It is a spin-off. It's not a retelling of the story, which I think is good. I think that's the route that Ghostbusters should have went that route.
Tommy Lee Jones and Will
Smith are not going to be in it.
They're not?
No.
That's awful.
Yeah, I mean...
They have to at least show up at one point.
Maybe there'll be a quick cameo, but as of now...
Kind of like how The Rock and, what's his name?
Who?
Samuel L. Jackson and the other guys. They were there for like 5 minutes and they died.
That was great.
Or, Johnny Depp and the other guy
from 21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street.
That was funny as well.
That has to happen.
Which is
like,
funny.
Really quickly. Or like at the end, like Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones have to be there. Maybe they have like office jobs at this point. Or maybe Will Smith has an office job and Tommy Lee Jones is just like retired.
You know what's funny? You mentioned 21 Jump Street because there was actually a project that was going to be a spin-off of 21 Jump Street, I guess, where those 2 characters joined the Men in Black.
Oh, that'd be great.
They were working on that for a while.
That would have been great.
It would have been different, at least.
That would have been funny.
All right, so that's about it for Men in Black.
Yeah.
So Solo's Jonathan Kasdan, he's going to write Indiana Jones 5. I'm really not looking forward to that.
Listen, his father is a great writer.
He wrote Empire Strikes Back, right? Okay.
His father's a great writer. I'm sure he has a lot of potential to one day be a good writer, but to say that his biggest accomplishment right now is Solo, right? Is that the biggest movie that Jonathan Kasdan's written right now?
I'm looking right now. He previously also wrote and directed the romantic comedies The First Time and In the Land of Women.
All right. So
nothing I've heard of. I haven't heard of either of those movies. I'm
going to look him up really quickly just to make sure he's not.
I'll say this. Hey, we don't know what his potential is. He had a lot of people telling him what to do. I'm sure he wasn't, the driving force behind Solo. Like you've talked about how Kathleen Kennedy and different writers and different directors were brought in. So I'm sure, he wasn't the main driving force. So hopefully he was. I really don't know what his involvement was with the movie. But I'm happy about this because David Cope was the original writer for Indiana Jones 5, and although he adapted Jurassic Park, I really am not a fan of this guy. He did The Lost World, which was alright. Looking back at it, it's not a good movie. War of the Worlds I thought was really boring, and he also wrote Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which was critically panned, and the fans absolutely hated it.
So they have 2 writers that are basically hated by franchise lovers.
Yeah, well, this guy got fired. David Cope is no longer writing it anymore.
So you went from a guy that people hated because of the way he adapted things to a guy who people hate because of the way he wrote a beloved character.
Yeah.
The only redeeming part of Solo, by the way, because I hate on this movie a lot, but it had one redeeming quality.
I think it had more than one.
It had one redeeming quality.
What?
Is that now we finally have an end to the age-old debate of who shot first, and it's Solo.
Well, I mean, that's not true, but I mean...